Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Well, hey, good morning.
Hey, everybody.
Wednesday, y'all.
Welcome. You can probably tell I'm not
Happy
home.
Yeah, you're in a different locale. I was looking for you this morning.
Very lonely. Yeah, you're missing me.
Well, sure. Yeah, it's really quiet around here.
Well, thanks. Michelle's noisy. Yay.
Yeah. Is that what you heard from what I said?
No, but it's yeah. I can tell that there's a little bit of a lag in the audio, so there might be a little bit of a delay in between both of us talking to each other, but yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Okay. So yeah, Michelle is one of those people who likes music on all the time. And I wasn't used to that. And I've adjusted. But when she's not here, I don't play music. So it's very quiet.
Well, I mean, there is nothing better than a little Blondie in the morning to get your blood pumping and get excited for the day. It's just, it's good stuff.
Unless you're a person who has trouble focusing, and then the music is distracting, trying to think about something. And so that's what happens with me. I have I'm a dude. I have a one track sort of brain. And so,
that's just a really beautiful generalization.
Yeah, let me just speak for me. Yeah, I definitely, sometimes to stay focused, and so I find that too many distractions are a problem for me.
Yeah,
but it's all good.
Yeah.
So I can give a couple of updates quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll remind everybody that we have on next Wednesday, the 6th, we have Allison Harrison, the attorney from Ohio, is going to come talk to us about truth in advertising and triggering terms in buy here, pay here financing. So that'll be good. Got some other things we can talk to her about, certainly. And then I set on the calendar 2 weeks from that Wednesday on the 20th, we're doing a tribute to a long-standing, expert contributor in this industry. And we put the word out that we were inviting some people who can also kind of come and pay tribute to, I'll go ahead and say it, Rick Reeves. So many of you who would be listening know Rick Reeves and his long career. Long story. Join us on the 20th of March, and let's tell you the story about how I feel like it's really a tip of the hat. I'm calling it a tribute, but it's really a tip of the white hat to Rick Reeves. And so I just, he's retired now in Florida, and so just want to have a chance to bring some folks together who like me benefited from all the education and all the training and perspective that he provided over the years. And so it'll be fun. Yeah, on the 20th, look forward to that. Tommy Brandis is expecting to be there, and we've got a number of people who will contribute videos to have on that day. So yeah, excited to have that on the calendar and moving forward with that part. But
I'm excited.
Nothing else from my side on.
Fun. Yeah. The webinar coming up on the 21st, Thursday, the 21st. We're going to be talking about keeping team members engaged, keeping them sticky, keeping them keeping them engaged. And it's interesting, just the parallel kind of to that. And I was watching a thing from the Independent Dealers podcast, and they were talking about, now that you've got all of the stuff and the things and everyone's, it's like it can get monotonous and all of that. And not that this is the topic of the conversation, but it's about how do you keep people just like, I just want to go to work. I'm excited to be there and to do the job and to participate in the thing and wanting to come back every day.
Sure.
To
be good.
To the Yes.
So shall we get into our topic of the day?
Yes. And yeah, I'm really grateful for this topic. We'll start the day with some
Yeah,
gratitude. You're welcome. Um,
there you
because
go.
it's something that, this topic has been a huge lesson to me personally. And I'm really, really grateful for Jim is the one that usually comes up with like, what should we talk about? And I'll write 12 or whatever things down, and it's like, here's some ideas. And then Jim's the one that typically chooses the topic and then writes the description and gets everything out there. And I was really grateful that he chose this one, because it's been a topic that's been like really at forefront of my mind recently. So you want
Yeah,
to
it's an
kick it off?
important topic, and
Mhm.
it's potentially tricky. I mean, in that, obviously we're coaches, and so when we talk about people being not coachable, it can sound like we're simply saying, we're the experts, you should listen to us. That's not really what this conversation is about. This is
Yeah.
um,
Wow.
about what we see. I mean, obviously we observe a lot. Sometimes we observe these
Hmm.
things within people that are our clients. We certainly see plenty of it with folks who are not our clients, and you can even take it outside the buy here pay here industry. It's like this
Hmm.
whole notion that the premise of being coachable has a lot of elements to it, and some of those elements are part of our principles with White Hat Way, and that's kind of why I wanted to
Hmm.
bring this as a white hat topic. It's like,
Hmm.
I'll also say, Michelle, that one of the things I think about when this topic comes up. Years ago, I wrote an article, I chose not to post it here, but I can find it and share later. But it's basically about understanding the buy here, pay here business.
Okay.
And in that article, I spent a fair amount of the time talking about ego, and this thing around coachability and humility and ego. And this is meant for people who, I'm not trying to be your coach. I'm simply saying there are industries that you could make some mistakes and maybe have it sting a little bit. Buy here, pay here is one of those industries where mistakes can be very costly. It could be a lot of dollars, and
Yeah.
we just believe
Hmm.
that it's one of those industries where we really we really want to check our ego at the door and find some help. And maybe that,
Hmm.
for folks, that can be a 20 group or whatever kind of, peer
Hmm.
group solution. Or here's Fred Leonard's popping in there, and he's a coach and consultant, so he can
Yeah,
certainly
and
speak to these
someone
things
that
as well. But yeah,
does not move with ego. He's one of those people that I just really enjoy, because there's a lot of just a genuine desire to be able to help and to help people
yeah, oh,
improve
for sure.
and all that. Can I
Yeah,
bring
well, and
something in that I wrote down this morning when I looked through your description, and I went, okay, just from my experience on this topic. I mean, Jim's been around for we were like adding up years, and it's coming at like 25 years in the industry, whether and all different kinds of roles within the industry. Has been a dealer, has been a general manager, has been a coach, consultant, all of these things. And I married into buy here, pay here, and so I'm learning and I'm learning and I'm learning, and it's like, okay. And Jim's always telling me, you don't have to be the subject matter expert, just like that's my job, and so just let me do that. And so I'm learning and I'm learning, and I'm like, and I'm learning all of the things that Jim does as like, this is the path, this is the way, this is this is like Jim, because I have so much respect for Jim. And as I've seen us see different coaching opportunities, and we're talking with different dealers, and I'm listening to Jim interact with some of the people that he's speaking with. I'm over there sometimes just like, wait. I know the answer. I know the answer. Wait. I know the answer, because I've learned it from observing with Jim. And I'll watch Jim and he doesn't bring up the thing. And afterwards I'm like, why didn't you say something? He says, because that's not their business model, because that's not their whatever. And so I'm trying to help them in what it is that their path is and how they're, as best as I can, and be gentle about it. And it's been such a beautiful thing for me to observe his example of Jim's not a red personality. I mean, he's not someone that's like, it's my way and I know best and this is the thing. He's more curious about learning why someone does things the way they do before he offers his input and before he off. And so just my perspective of observing this, it's like, if any, I hats off. I like my husband. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's been a really big on this whole topic with me. It's like, oh, honey, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You don't have to do, it's just be curious and just, offer a suggestion or, have you considered or all of that kind of stuff, and allow people to make their own choices and their own pathway, and don't judge them for it.
Yeah.
I'm done. You can
Thank you
go.
for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think so for me, this topic is less about the straight lines. It's less about, you said this is the way, and certainly business models vary, strategies vary. So you're right. Part of what we're trying to learn is, how does this person want to do business? I think the part that I see in coaching is, we see a lot of dealers out there who, and of course, I think where I see it the most is in Facebook. Like you see these dealers out there, and we talked about it a week or two ago, this matter. You see this, especially younger generation, they have a ton of resources at their fingertips between the YouTubes and the Googles and now artificial intelligence and all these tools that are at their fingertips. They kind of feel like they can figure some of this stuff out on their own. And I think for me, I'm just genuinely coming at it from a place of, gosh, I'd really like to save you from that expensive mistake. I see you going down a path that others have gotten singed on, and I would love to be able to spare you. And I know other, Fred and others that are, coaches and advisors, resources. I think they see the same thing and they want to help, but sometimes let's turn it on us instead. Sometimes we can't we have to save ourselves from ourselves. It's like we have to be able to outside of our own ideas and be open to possibilities and suggestions from others. And that's you mentioned the red personality. I'm familiar with those old tests, and yes, I did not test as red. You're not surprised, but I think that's an interesting element to think about from a personality trait. Is like, look, part of what, and we've talked about this, and I said it in the same article. I said, part of what makes car dealers and makes them often successful entrepreneurs, and what makes them choose to be independent auto dealers in particular, is that kind of fierce independence thing. They
Nothing
like
wrong
the
with that.
idea of marching. And so we have similar things that we do as coaches. We're building our company, and we have ideas about how we want it to look, and so that's all good. It's when we close our mind that it gets a little dangerous. It's when we close our mind and say, we know how to do this. We don't need help from others. And we've just seen so many things in our work where people are, they kind of have this mindset sometimes that, I know how to do that. I know how to do that. Thanks, Jim. We don't need your help on that part. We kind of know how to do that. And then months later, we see them proceed down that path, and it's a mess. And it's like, we're just really trying to upload really a lot of the stuff that I would say in a buy here, pay here. If we just talk about buy here, pay here for a minute, there are so many things that are kind of fundamental. And so when you talk about a certain way, I've had fun in the past on Facebook, and especially threads with Tommy Brandis. It's like Tommy and I are like, what some of you folks would call old school, because Tommy and I are, older and decades of experience.
Been in the business for a while.
So what some would call old school, Tommy and I might call fundamentals, like it's basic blocking and tackling, like it's pretty fundamental to the business. And, if you think you got another way to do it, then, we wish you lots of success. It's just that typically when you, even if you're a multi-million-dollar NFL player, when you show up for training camp and, in the summer, you're usually
Mhm.
going to be focused on blocking and tackling,
Yeah.
fundamentals and that kind of thing. So this
Mhm.
comes in for me is like, there are some fundamental things that we feel like are important for dealers to learn in the buy here, pay here space in particular. And I think if you take just coaching to a broader audience, more than just buy here, pay here, and you say, what is it that keeps us from accepting advice of others that have been there? What is
Mhm.
that? You would have some perspective on that,
No.
Michelle. Like, what do you see?
Um, well, because, sometimes we get stuck in, "This is how I did it, and it worked for me." And because it
Mhm.
worked, in some instances that I see, it's like, "This is how I did it. This worked for me." And so without consideration
Mhm.
to someone else's business model or whatever, it's like, this is the only way. This is the way that it needs to be done. And it's, I love that, the be curious, not judgmental. And so it's like asking the questions, and understanding that, that's one of the things that I've observed, is that there are so many ways to do this. And so be open to, there might be a different way, a way that might, improve something somehow, or and eh, offering your perspective through love, through
Mhm.
compassion, through, it's like, are you sharing your insights through love, with love like being the power behind how you're sharing? And this is something that I see happen, and it just breaks my heart when, you someone's having an issue, a challenge, or whatever on social media, and someone comes in and says something really snarky, or like, "You're an idiot," or, "You'd be crazy if you didn't," or, all of these things, and approaching it with a
Yeah.
way, it's like, "You're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. I know how to do it best. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right." And that to me is like, that's the coachable part. Do you approach the things that happen in your business, and the things that happen that you interject, and, your colleagues, your whatever, with, "I'm right, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, because I've done it, it worked for me, and so it's the only way." And that's we it gets really tricky, because it this this has been a topic that Jim and I have been, like, between the two of us, just kind of talking about quite a bit, about this, having an attitude of, "I'm smarter, I'm right," and realizing that regardless of whether or not that is true, it doesn't that it doesn't matter. Having that kind of attitude about it, "I'm smarter than you are. I'm right, you're wrong." That's the part that we need to just package up and throw away. And it's like, be teachable, be coachable, be kind, be loving. Don't try to manipulate other people's journey, other people's experience in their business, other people's business, by interjecting what you have to say in a way that is not respecting them as their experience, their business plan, their, because you don't know their why, you don't know what's behind a lot of that. And understand that, if people are saying to you, "Hey, not a good idea. Hey, not a good idea," do you, as the receiver of that information, go like, "No, I'm going to do it my way"? Or do you, as the
Yeah.
receiver of that information, go, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong and I have to change everything"? Or do you, as the receiver of that
Yeah.
information, receive it in a way that it's like, "Interesting. I'm going to look at that, and
Yeah.
I'm going to, maybe ask a couple other people about, what do you think? What's been your perspective?" And the receiver and the giver, if you can be curious on both ends, the receiver and the giver of information, of all of that. That's and do it through, through like compassion, kindness, love. It takes a lot of this uh, ego just creates so much conflict when we are giving an ego or when we're receiving an ego. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think for me that you touched on something there I want to circle back to, which is this idea we see on Facebook, some threads where you're right, people chime in and they have the kind of animated or kind of get sort of vocal, if you can do that on Facebook. But
Unkind
they
too.
certainly
Yeah.
and they throw in their ideas in a really emphatic way. And I think often what's happening there is you're seeing people that are offering tips that they're brand new to the business. They don't have the decades of experience of some of these other folks. And it's like, what makes us feel like we have to get in there and offer, our opinion about this stuff? And then the other part that happens with us in coaching is it's an interesting thing to explore, this idea of, when we offer coaching to people and they don't accept it, because you heard me say that, Michelle, to many clients. Look,
Mhm.
our job is to provide information based on best practices, things we've observed, successes and failures
Mhm.
we've seen with others. And then, it's as the dealer, if we're talking about the buyer payer space, a dealer, it's their name on the building. Like at the end, it's
Oh,
their decision.
absolutely.
And if they go against that
Mhm.
recommendation, that happens. If you can't accept that, that's your own ego. As a consultant,
Mhm.
if you can't offer suggestions and have the dealer, hear the suggestions and decide to go another way, that's okay. It's like, that's
Mhm.
part of business. It's your name on the building.
Mhm.
So it's like, that's okay. I think the thing that is troubling, and it's kind of the same thing here, you could extend to most anything, is it's when they don't want to listen to the
Uh,
suggestions of
yes.
past
I
successes of years, that it
yes.
becomes, troublesome. It's like, that's when you
Yeah.
start to just conclude person may not be coachable.
Mhm. Well, and as I read some, my take sometimes on the newbies offering advice is a little bit different. It's like,
Mhm.
I'm celebrating their exuberance, their excitement. They might have just learned something. They might have just read something and it's like, "Oh my gosh." Because I mean, how many of us are guilty of we learn something and it's like, "Oh my god, that was so great." And now we want to go share and spread the word and tell everybody the thing, and that there is sometimes I see this exuberance, this it's a newness and it's an excitement, and so we can honor that. For me, the ego part is not about wanting to interject. It's about how do we give and how do we receive that information. Do we give in a way that is condescending? I know better. You're an idiot to do this. And do we, because I would say, let's cut that out, like surgically cut that out of how we interact with each other on Facebook or, one-on-one or whatever. And then the other part of the ego is, am I open to receiving someone else's information, their thoughts, their experience
Okay.
or whatever through, just open and are curious and not judging the moment they say it, that won't work, whatever, but just like curious about it. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a different take, but I mean, I get it. There's a lot of, I just witness a lot of unkindness or just really red personality of like, I know how to do this and you're an idiot if you do it that way. And that's just, it's like,
Yeah.
man,
And
yeah,
that's,
better
you
way.
see a lot of that.
It really is.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
it's, I guess the point I'm thinking about is, if one hand, we could observe and honor the fact that if people are out there, the person who's asking the question on Facebook, at least they're
Hmm.
soliciting some resource and some feedback, right? They're
Yeah.
open to the idea that they don't know the answer to this. Then
Hmm.
then you add to
Help,
that, you
help
get
me,
five
please.
answers.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you get five answers. So now what?
Mhm.
Like, whose advice do I follow? And I'm just saying, one of the things we see is that
Yeah.
people, it's an ego driven thing sometimes, get out there and share, here's how I do it. And like, but is that proven? Like, do you know that works better than somebody else in the next state over? I mean, this is the part that I think is like, you know, we want to see dealers avoid the expensive mistakes. And obviously you can extend that
Mhm.
same conversation
Absolutely.
to, yeah, and you can extend that same to any kind of business and entrepreneurship. And I remember some dealers that I worked with many years ago. This was like 2007 or 8. I remember them telling me, we feel like if Tiger Woods still needs a coach. This was at the height of his golfing career. He's like winning majors and all
Yeah.
this stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
we feel like if Tiger Woods still needs a coach, we probably need a coach too. And so I just remember that it was kind of the first time I had somebody say it to me. Like that was a fact, that was in their thought processes
Mhm.
when they,
Mhm.
engaged me as a coach. And I think it's really about just, because this particular space is,
Mhm.
and one of the things we're going to talk about or I'd say this, I proposed a session. I guess I don't know that they've accepted it yet, but
Mhm.
we propose a topic, and if it's not accepted in an IDA, we'll do it as a virtual thing. But the topic is really around kind of demystifying the cash flow profit
The
relationship
difference.
in buy
Yeah.
here, pay here.
Mhm.
And it's a big thing. So I think this is the part that I see most in the buy here, pay here space, is where people, they struggle to make the connection. And, we've seen evidence of it recently in working with some folks where it's like there's a big void there with a lot of people and
Mhm.
listen, I've been doing this 20 plus years and still learning a lot of the stuff, right? So it's like
Mhm.
there's stuff that people just don't quite grasp at the middle of this cash flow versus profit thing. And you've heard me talk about this, and we don't have to go too deep into that, but it's like where ego comes into play so often, and I think I touched on that article I referred to, is like because folks coming out of the retail business are often focused by gross profit, sales volume, sell, go. And it just there's a price to pay for that. And I think we just have
Mhm.
to try to make those folks aware. Then they can go on and make the decision. And if
Mhm.
we're all adults here, we can go make a decision. And if we suffer for it, we suffer for it. But it's like we're just trying to make sure we share with them, because
Mhm.
we've seen others do it, and
Mhm.
we've seen others stung with a certain
Mhm.
approach. And so we're just, we're trying to help folks avoid that.
Mhm.
But I think this is really back to just basic communication and listening. You got to be open to
Yeah.
hearing other ideas. We love that dealers are fiercely independent. I don't know that all dealers are
Mhm.
red personalities, but I love that they're independent. And I love that they're entrepreneurial. And I love that they want to go and create a business. And that's beautiful. We just think to be coachable means that you're probably going to improve your chance. And that's not, I'm not asking you to let me be your coach. In fact, I just can tell people, I'm going to be doing less and less coaching in the coming years, right? It's just
Mhm.
that's not, I'm not really here to sell coaching. I'm
Unless you
simply
call the
saying,
podcast a coaching platform. I mean, we're
I
coaching from
guess, I
3
guess
days a week in a way. Yeah.
we're sharing, but it's like, there are just a lot of specific things that you're never going to be able to get
Mhm.
through all the stuff in a podcast platform. So it's like, there's a lot of really
Yeah.
specific stuff that people have to learn. And obviously, as like when we talk about these kind of things, as we speak on the morning show, we're talking to, if there's 6 dealers listening, there you have 6 different business approaches, and so that's not that they're
Mhm.
all going to follow exactly the same model and methods. We just simply are saying, let's look at these fundamental things and make sure that we're,
Mhm.
that we're not going to step in a hole over here
Yeah.
with some of these kind of hazards that are, certainly part of buy here, pay here. And so this is why we just, it's a struggle when we see people that are not being coachable, that are not receptive to ideas. And unfortunately, sometimes we see them go down their own path and get burned. We've
Mhm.
also seen people go down their own path and do quite well. It doesn't mean that, our way
Yeah.
is the only way. It's just that
Yeah.
we certainly want to learn from best
Okay.
practices in the past.
For those of you watching, this means spot on. And that's one thing that I've really respected about watching you is that when you talk to someone that is doing something different than how you've observed, you get super curious. It's like, how did you do that? What is it that, it's because it's working for you. So, how did you do that? Because I'd like to understand, because that may be something that I may be able to help others, or that
Yeah.
I it may shift. And that's actually one of the beautiful things that I really appreciated. You've seen people all across the country, um, hundreds of different dealers, and talked to hundreds of different dealers and seen hundreds of different business models, hundreds,
Mhm.
and gotten in depth of, being able to see what it is that they do, and how they navigate, and I'm, yeah, I would say, like, I know that we're about ready to wrap up, and I'm thinking mostly, if I were to say, let's just boil this down to, the whole topic is be curious, be compassionate, and be open in giving and receiving of information about how
Mhm.
people do their business models. Because when Jim speaks, and when we speak about having a coach, we have a coach, we have mentors, and we have
Mhm.
influencers that we pay close attention to, because we're learning something new every day that helps us be able to help others better. And
Yeah.
it's
Maybe
so
maybe it
be
helps.
open. Huh?
Maybe it helps for me to take a leadership role and just sort of tell our listeners, look, I don't know it all. I don't know it all. I've been doing this a long time. I don't know all the stuff. So I'm happy to refer people to the folks who know the stuff. And so it's like, we just have to be able to
Uh,
say, have a little humility
uh-huh.
and say, I don't know all the answers. I
Yeah.
think the other piece that, and we can, but I think one of the other things that you talked about that I get curious when people have some success, like there's some new success, they're enjoying something's working for them. And of course, as an
Oh, yeah.
advisor, I want to learn the best practices and help others figure out how that, what
Mhm.
worked there. I think the other piece of that sometimes, and some dealers listening to this would hear this in themselves and say, but if it didn't work, are you still willing to talk about it? Are you willing to share? Are you going to bury
I
that and
I
put
love
try to
that.
put some lip?
Yeah.
It's
I
like, can
love
we
that,
talk
and,
about it?
like,
Can we
Jack Carter did that
acknowledge our
recently, and
mistakes?
yeah, I mean, Jack Carter did that recently, and I watched him. He's like, he'll bring something out, and he's like, I thought it was this, and I did the thing, and it's not, and it's just like, I just wanted you all to
Yeah,
know, like, one of the, like, people's reasons for
yeah,
buying, or it was, and it's just, that he had been navigating with this idea that this is the
right.
way, and then it's like, it's not, and
Yeah,
at least for
yeah.
me,
The data.
kind of, it's not, and then sharing that, and I love that. That makes me
Hmm.
so happy. So another kudos to
Yeah,
Jack. Really, really appreciate
yeah, yeah,
him
for sure. Yeah,
as an operator, business owner, very much so.
absolutely.
um
Well,
all
we should
righty.
wrap it up. I look forward to. I guess you may or may not be back here on Friday morning with me in the studio.
i'm i I'll be back here, actually, honey. Sorry, everyone's hearing this for the first. um my brother asked if we could stay until Friday morning. So,
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Okay.
So we'll stick around. His wife doesn't get back until late, late, late Thursday night. So we're going to stick around till
Gotcha.
then,
Good.
and just enjoy some. It was his birthday yesterday, so we're just enjoying some sibling time. It's been
Nice.
wonderful. All right. Well,
Yeah.
hey everybody, thank you
Outstanding.
so much for joining us today, and hope you all
Be back
have
here Friday.
have a fantastic rest of your week. And we will be back here on Friday, and I will still be on an Idaho family visit. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.